Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hive Summit for some great PD. My goal here at the Hive Summit is to introduce you to some people and ideas that will launch your school year off right. Together, through watching, tweeting, and connecting, we can build a positive PLM that will produce some sweet results. Today's guest focuses on best practice in all they do. They have recently completed their doctoral program in international education. They have spoken about all sorts of topics ranging from flipped learning to gamification. Their main passion now lies in helping educators connect globally. They are the founder of EduMatch Project. This group includes a thriving Voxer group, guest blogging opportunities, weekly Twitter chats, and podcasts. Recently, they added a publishing arm to the EduMatch community. They have published such books as The Fire Within by Mandy Fairlick, and The Teacher's Journey by Brian Costello, and The Journey to the Why in You by Dean Gainley. This educator not only brings people together, but they also inspire them. She helps build capacity to achieve best classrooms possible in us teachers. I am proud to introduce Sarah Thomas to the Hive Summit. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Michael. It is such a pleasure and an honor to be here, so I'm really excited to chat with you.
I am so excited to have you here. Sarah, you and I go back a wee bit. We met online, which is like really the whole point of your topic today here is, connecting and finding your tribe online.
Yeah, totally.
So tell us a little bit about that. Like what is it about connection that drives you?
Oh my goodness, connection is just everything. Like there's so much that we can learn from and with one another that it's just mind blowing. It has changed my professional life, my personal life, just everything, just by connecting with some awesome people around the world, like yourself and like other members of my PLN. And I mean, it's just made me that much better of an educator.
What are some examples of ways that connecting as an educator has helped you personally and professionally?
Absolutely. Well, I started out through alternative certification. My background was in radio, TV, film, and I was actually in grad school for international communication when I saw a flyer to get alternatively certified. So after an intensive summer session, then, I had my own classroom and I was just like, what do I do? So the first couple years were a steep learning curve, but I would say that there were two major upswings in my career. And the first one was that I moved around a lot in the first 5 years, just trying to find like a good fit, a good home. And when I found like an administrator that was truly a multiplier and that trusted and that supported, then I mean, that was like the first major upswing in my career. And the second one was definitely getting connected. So this happened in 2013 at the Common Ground Conference in Maryland. I saw the hashtag. And I was sitting in the audience and I was just like, I want to interact, but I can't use my current Twitter account because I'm tweeting Brett Michaels and Flavor Flav and BH1 people. So I need I need a different account so that I can interact with other people here because I don't want to miss out on this awesome conversation that's going on. So I created my Sarah the Teacher Twitter account and not thinking that the name would stick at all, not knowing what exactly would be ahead of me, and that my life was just changing at that moment. And from that moment on, then it's just been like positivity, just reaping the benefits of just connecting with amazing people around the world and just getting there for the tips and the tricks, like different things I could try with my classroom, the feedback, but really staying for the connections that, I've made with people. I've made friends just almost, everywhere around the world. So, I mean, it's just amazing.
So for the people watching here, they've signed up actually to this conference and they got their ticket via signing up for this email. Most of these people I'm going to assume have Twitter, but if they don't, what is your elevator pitch for Twitter in education?
Absolutely. Twitter was my first foray into getting connected in education. And I loved it because you have things such as Twitter chats, which, by the way, my first mistake was that I asked for permission to join a Twitter chat, in a very active Twitter chat, and no one saw my message. So I misinterpreted that as, oh no, you're not welcome here. But that was not the case at all. I tried again, and I came to the realization very quickly that no one had seen my initial message. But in a slower paced chat, then people were just like, you don't ever have to ask for permission. That's the whole point of it. So just jump in. So Twitter chats are just amazing ways to just kind of get insight on a topic that you want to know more about. There's Twitter chats for like everything. There's lists out there. There's different platforms that will allow people to get connected to, their content area, their grade level, their professional interests, their personal interests. So, I mean, there's just some awesome resources out there, and just getting together with people all around the world and chatting about it and becoming better. Just everybody all together, learning together. It's just amazing.
So that's your 30-second pitch, that like nice little, there's ways to connect, ways to learn, ways to grow. These Twitter chats that you actually run one that says we said it in the intro, you have a weekly EduMatch Twitter chat.
Yeah.
When you first got on Twitter and you didn't know about these chats, you didn't know who to follow, how does like a new person, they got 0 people in their PLN, where do they start?
Oh my goodness. So again, don't be like me. I started drinking from the water hose. I thought I had to go to every chat, talk to every person, read every single tweet, and that just, that's not sustainable. So definitely pace yourself. That's the first thing. But I would start out very small and scale. So there is a list. There's a couple lists out there, I think, of different Twitter chats. But the one I started with was on Cyberman's page. And so I found a chat that looked interesting to me. So on his chats page, then you can kind of look by day, by topic, and you can find one that fits your schedule and your interests. So, you just go on Twitter at that particular time, and you just, look for that hashtag, and someone will be asking questions, most likely, and then you'll respond to the question. So it's like, I'll ask a question, everyone will respond and text, and it's just this really, really cool back and forth. So I would say start with one, and when you get more comfortable, then, you can add more to your repertoire. But in terms of finding people to follow, the folks that you interact with on these Twitter chats, like if someone really sparks your interest, then definitely follow them. And a lot of educators will follow you back. And there's also a tool that I'd like to put out there that we use in EduMatch. So it's called the Awesome Table of EduMatch. So if you go to edumatch.org and look for the databases tab, and when you hit that drop down menu, it's going to say Awesome Table of EduMatch, and you can kind of go through, filter, look for different hashtags, look for areas of interest. There's even like a free-form search where you can just type in a term that interests you, and it'll bring back, it'll search this database of almost 1,000 people and just like show you their information, their Twitter, some of them have blogs, some of them have Voxer. So it'll bring you back all this information about them, and they have self-selected. So these are people who have filled in their information. So they don't mind you contacting them. They actually welcome that. And if you want to get added to the database, you'll see on the top right-hand side that there is a sign-in button, or I'm sorry, a sign-up button. So if you click on that, fill out your info, then, I will transfer it over to the Awesome Table of EduMatch.
Nice. And that's really like kind of at the heart of what you're passionate about, is really bringing educators together and like flexing that full power of these sort of social networks to sort of bring the best to our classrooms. Because in your experience, that's what happened for you, right? I mean, that's what happened for me with social media. It just really like amped up my class and my ideas and my connections. So
yeah, totally.
So EduMatch, I mean, that's its main thrust, right?
Yeah, pretty much. it started out as connecting educators along similar lines of interest, and we still do that. We still do our person of the day, not as consistently, but from time to time, we'll tweet out different things about people on Twitter. So we pull from that database and just kind of go down the list and pop around a little bit and just highlight different people. But from there, it's grown because of ideas that members of the community have brought. So we started out with the Twitter featuring people of the day, and then we moved to a Voxer group, which has become kind of the staple of the EduMatch community. In reality, we now have two Voxer groups because it caps it at 500. So we have 500 in the first group, and in the second group we have about 300-ish. So shout out to Justin Schleider for that. He had the idea of starting the Voxer group, and from there we've grown. We have a guest blog. We have as you mentioned, the Tweet and Talk, which is our Twitter chat slash video panel. So we do that most Sundays. We're currently on a summer hiatus, but we'll be back on July 15th. And shout out to Tammy Neal for that, as well as I think it was Amanda Rogers also who brought that idea. And from there we've just kind of grown, and we have a lot going on right now. So very excited about that.
So with all this experience, I know you have to have other ways you like to connect. And I think for some people, Twitter is sort of the first social media that they really ventured into outside of Facebook. And Facebook's communities have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger for the education. But you just mentioned Voxer. For those of you that don't know Voxer, it's a great tool. And the thing that I absolutely love about Voxer is I feel like it's a little more personal because you get the audio recording. So you can type just like a Twitter chat, but you could also push this little walkie-talkie button and kind of record a message for the group. And it really, I think, like I said, it helps take that conversation from the Twitter sphere and sort of make it a little more personable, a little more back and forth. I'm not a part of any Voxer group that's got 500 people in it. So maybe that's still a little less personal. I don't know. But Voxer as a tool itself is something that I think that educators should look at. And I think you would agree.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, Voxer's great. I use it on my commute. I live in Virginia. I work in Maryland. So, I'm driving back and forth every day. And I just kind of get caught up in either EduMatch or in other groups that I'm in. There also side groups, there's some folks around the country or around the world that I'll talk to every day, on my way to work, on my way back from work. So I just definitely want to agree with what you said about the personal part. It definitely is a way to get more personal when you lay that voice element over it and get to hear people's voice. And, sometimes the conversations aren't always 100% educational, and that's okay. We get to know each other as people, and getting to know each other as people, then that really helps to foster empathy. And, we're able to have conversations with our friends. We're able to debate things where, if we're debating with a stranger, then the wall might come up, right? But when you're talking to your friend that you've been, chatting with, connecting to, getting to know on Voxer, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, then, we really get some insight that we may not have otherwise gotten.
Yeah, I think really as educators, we know that the most, I think, important thing to maintain, to tend to, and to care for is that relational side of things, to build relationships with your students, to build relationships with your colleagues. And now that we're talking about, this connection, this power of social media, these are also relationships you have. These are people that inform your classroom and impact your classroom with lesson ideas, with encouragement. I know when I first started doing some different things in my class, it's hard to go against the grain. It's really hard to go against the grain. And having Twitter as a community that you could bounce ideas off of and hear from other like-minded educators that kind of encourage you over that hump of making the change in your classroom. To me, that has probably been the greatest thing about social networks is that sort of notion of finding your tribe.
Oh, totally, totally, totally. I would agree 100%. And I love the fact that we're able to find people that are, like you said, like-minded. They are here to learn and grow and connect and become better educators. And also at the same time, we can have like very different ideas than what we're used to.
Hmm.
Like we're all like-minded in the sense that we're here to improve. But I mean, there's so many people, like geographically, culturally, like all different kinds of viewpoints that are out there and just like at our fingertips, through the power of social media, through these connections that we make. And yeah, so it's just been a total game changer.
That's fantastic. I would say too, I don't know if you agree, but don't fear the follow. Um,
Mm,
this I would argue when you make a professional account like Sarah did, remember that like this is about making connections. So unlike maybe your Facebook where you're inviting in only like family and like college friends and high school friends, uh, this if they are impacting you like and you like you're part of that chat and you're liking what they're talking about or something just comes across and you dig it, follow them. Like it's totally free, and that connection might be the connection that a year down the way is somebody that you're actually working with or
mhm.
connecting or your classrooms are connecting or doing a mystery Skype with.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, you never know who you're going to connect with and how they will potentially shape your life, I have a friend of mine, for example, I was just listening to a friend of mine who was doing a podcast today, and she was talking about how she connected with with two employers like through a tweet because she just saw, that they had a position available. She saw that and she applied for positions, and this has taken her around the world. So now she has those experiences and she's connected with people in those communities, before actually getting there. I've seen her do that and just kind of get a sense of the school culture and everything just from that tweet. So I mean, it's very powerful. You never know what's going to happen.
All right, so I mean, still on this topic of connection and the powerful things that it can bring to us. Do you have some other like nice takeaway tips these guys can use to maybe expand their network? Like if like somebody's sitting there with already having 500 followers, like how do they expand that network? How do they flex that muscle? What are different ways they could use these social networks?
Definitely. Well, I would say take full advantage of online professional learning opportunities such as this conference. This is like a great example of what people can do, and just connecting with people that you meet through this conference. Connect with me, connect with Mike. Connect with everybody that you see, and you see someone tweeting about the conference, then definitely engage, interact, respond. There's other great professional learning opportunities available as well. Like I know EdCamp Voice, we just had it back in July, but it'll be coming around again. And there's EdCamp EduMatch that is going on in August the 4th. So I'm not sure exactly when this one will air, but it'll be coming around again next year as well. So the first Saturday in August, and EdChange Global, huge shout out to them. They just had theirs July 21st, I believe. So they're a great opportunity, and you see like more and more professional learning opportunities that emerge. And I mean, I would encourage people who are watching this to also create those spaces for other people in your schools, in your communities, in your district, for your PLN. Just definitely seize that power and just learn, use it to learn and grow.
Yeah, I think too to add to that, I would just say, you know, to learn and then like apply that learning, you know?
Yes.
I mean, like we gotta move some of this towards action. So
Mhm.
Twitter is filled with all sorts of wonderful ideas and wonderful people. Reach out to those people. So many people in these chats when you become part of a community, and then all of a sudden you post a question to that community. I know I host a weekly chat about my book, Explore Like a Pirate. The hashtags XPLAP. And every week we got new people coming who are starting to gamify their class, and they'll ask questions on there, and all sorts of people start answering and helping out and pitching in. These communities are just wonderful, but all of these communities are about learning and growing, and part of that growth is putting it into action. So, let's try to move towards action for all of us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep, that's the key.
So, Sarah, you have quite an impressive sort of resume and experience, from classroom teacher to sort of tech coordinator to PhD to speaker. I believe you've also been in worked in DC a little bit, which was also an interesting probably opportunity for you. Would you say that without being part of these social communities, would your career have been drastically different, or do you think that you would have ended up in a similar spot?
I'll say ending up in a similar spot, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is all because of connections. Just all of it is just thanks to just my PLN, just this amazing community. Like I said, I was alternatively certified, and the learning curve was so steep, and I was able to bring some things from my radio, TV, film background into the classroom. But I mean, there were areas where I struggled, and I mean, I still continue to struggle, so there are, everyone has their strengths, everyone has their areas of challenge. But through connecting with other educators, I was able to find ways to compensate for my areas of challenge. Like, for example, gamification was like a huge, 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 just benefit. Like, once I learned about that and started implementing it, it just really helped so much in terms of just kind of a paradigm shift for my class and for myself as well. Thinking about different ways to do things, different ways to to different models of teaching, different ways to assess, and keeping it interesting, keeping it fun, and also, giving students or cultivating student agency. It was just, it just blew my mind.
That brings me back to, I still remember your tweets about asking me about gamification and building out.
Yeah.
You did this basketball theme.
Yes.
So, right there, that shows you the power of a community. I mean, Sarah and I, that was years ago, and I still remember her exact theme that she was building around. These are real connections, powerful connections. Yeah. So, think about adding these to your classroom, because it truly extends your classroom, it extends your learning, and it makes you grow tremendously.
Absolutely. And thank you again for that. That worked like a charm. So,
Sarah, thank you so much for being part of the Hive Summit. It's been wonderful having you guys here, or you here. And
thank you.
Everyone, once again, I would like to thank all of you guys who are the viewers and participating in the Hive Summit. And I'd like to encourage you to interact with the Hive Summit per this topic, right? Take the EduMatch sort of challenge here and tweet out some of the things that you've learned today, that you've learned yesterday, that you're going to learn tomorrow. Make this an active community, and continue to follow those. I liked Sarah's tip. When you see somebody out there tweeting about this, that means they care and they're an active user. So following those kind of users are a great tip.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And again, Sarah, thank you so much for being part of this.
Oh, thank you for having me. This was amazing. And thank you to everyone who's watching.
Everybody, take care, and I will see you tomorrow.